selection. I hope you enjoyed this one also. Let me know what you think. Thanks.
Saving Animals After Tornadoes by Stephen Person. Mason versus the Tornado. A young dog named Mason knew he was in serious danger. The date was April 27th, 2011, and a powerful tornado was ripping through North Smithfield, a suburb of Birmingham, Alabama. Mason hid from the storm inside the garage of his family's home. Suddenly, the wind tore off the garage door. Mason was sucked outside and swept high into the air. Tornadoes are among the most powerful storms in nature. They are violent, swirling columns of air, with winds that can top 200 miles per hour, 322 kilometers per hour. Tornadoes usually move along the ground at about 30 miles per hour, 48 kilometers per hour, but can reach speeds up to 70 miles per hour, 113 kilometers per hour. Tornadoes reach from thunderstorm clouds all the way down to the ground. The tornado slammed Mason down to the ground, far from his home. He tried to stand, but the bones in both of his front legs were broken. Unable to walk, Mason began crawling toward home, pushing his body forward with his hind legs. Without help, Mason would not survive. Like Mason, this dog was separated from its owner when the tornado hit Alabama. Rescued at last. Mason's owners survived the storm, though their house was badly damaged. When the tornado passed, they went outside to look for Mason. He was nowhere in sight. After days of searching, the family gave up. They were sure they would never see their dog again. Then, one day, about 2.5 weeks later, the family got a big surprise. There, sitting on the porch, was Mason. He had gone so long without food, he was down to just half his normal weight. Yet the little dog had still managed to crawl all the way home. Tornadoes destroyed homes all over Birmingham, Alabama, on April 27th, 2011. The family rushed Mason to an animal hospital. A veterinarian named Bill Lamb and 2 other animal doctors worked on Mason for 3.5 hours. They had to put 2 metal plates and 17 screws in Mason's legs to help them heal. The hard work paid off. Mason was soon able to begin walking again. Mason became famous when his story appeared in newspapers and on television. People donated money to help Mason's family pay the dog's medical bills. Mason, standing on his bandaged legs after veterinarians fixed them. The super outbreak. Mason was lucky. He found his owners and was able to recover. Many other animals in the area were not so lucky. The tornado that destroyed Mason's neighborhood was just one of many to strike that day. In fact, meteorologists say that more than 300 tornadoes struck in 15 different states between April 26th and April 28th, 2011. This photo shows the destruction caused by one of the tornadoes in Tuscaloosa, Alabama. When many tornadoes strike at once, it is called an outbreak of tornadoes. The outbreak at the end of April was so huge, it became known as the Super Outbreak of 2011. More than 340 people were killed by the storms. The most severe damage was done in Alabama, where about 200 people died and thousands of buildings were flattened. Most of the world's tornadoes occur in the United States. An average of about 1,300 tornadoes hit the country each year. During the super outbreak, tornadoes hit states from Mississippi all the way to New York. Super outbreak of 2011. Yellow, where the tornadoes hit on April 27th, 2011. Twisters and animals. Tornadoes like the ones that slammed Alabama in 2011 are sometimes called twisters. That's because the spinning storms are twisting columns of air. Twisters can last anywhere from just a few seconds to an hour or more. Most, however, are over in less than 10 minutes. Scientists know that tornadoes are formed during powerful thunderstorms. It's still a mystery, however, why the violent winds of some thunderstorms create tornadoes, while most do not. Tornado winds are so strong they can knock down buildings, rip trees from the ground, and flip cars weighing 4,000 pounds, 1,814 kilograms, or more. Even tornadoes that last a very short time, however, are bad news for people, and animals too. Their powerful winds can easily hurt pets, or carry them far from home. Animals can also end up being left alone if their owners are killed, or forced to evacuate without them. With no one to give them food or water, these animals need help, and quickly. A tornado destroyed this mother and daughter's home in Tuscaloosa, Alabama. Still, they felt lucky when they found their dog Shadow after the storm. Rescuers on the move. After the super outbreak of 2011, animal rescuers raced to the hardest hit neighborhoods. Kimberly Gentry, of the Alabama Society for the Prevention of Cruelty to Animals, ALSPCA, was one of the first to search the streets of Tuscaloosa. She saw heaps of wood and bricks where houses once stood, and near many of the piles were frightened, injured pets. There were all kinds of dogs and cats wandering around, she told a reporter at the time. This girl found her friend's kitten among the scattered remains of the family's home in Alabama. Kimberly loaded the animals into vans and drove them to animal shelters. There, workers gave the pets food and water. Veterinarians worked day and night to treat the animals' injuries. Meanwhile, Kimberly went out to look for more animals in need of rescue. "We are not going to give up," she said, "because the animals need us more than ever." Established in 1954, the Humane Society of the United States is the country's largest animal protection organization. This picture shows a worker from the Humane Society of the United States, another rescue group that helped animals after the 2011 tornadoes. Using the Internet. For weeks after the super outbreak of 2011, rescue workers continued to find animals and bring them to shelters. Saving the animals was just part of the job, however. The next step was to reunite pets with their owners. With so many pets separated from their families, how could this be done? These puppies and kittens wait at shelters after the super outbreak of 2011 separated them from their owners. The Internet was a huge help. The president of Have a Heart Animal Rescue and Adoption in Birmingham, Alabama, along with 3 other animal advocates, created a Facebook page called Animals Lost and Found from the Tornadoes in Alabama on 4/27/11. Individuals and rescuers posted pictures of animals that they had lost or found. They included information about what shelters the animals had been taken to. Using this Facebook page, more than 100 families were able to find their lost pets. Most of the pets that were posted on the Facebook page were dogs and cats. However, rescuers also posted pictures of lost birds, rabbits, guinea pigs, and other animals. Thanks to the efforts of Have a Heart Animal Rescue and Adoption, as well as the Facebook page, this dog was reunited with its owner. From Alabama to New York. Sadly, Many pets could not be reunited with their owners. Some pet owners had died in the storm. Others had lost all their possessions and had no way to take care of their animals anymore. Shelters around Alabama were crowded with more than 1,000 animals in need of new homes. Something had to be done. Workers from the Washington Animal Rescue League in Washington, D.C., took 37 homeless dogs from Alabama so that they could be adopted in the Washington, D.C. area. This puppy waits for its owner in a shelter in Tuscaloosa, Alabama. Animal rescuers from around the country responded. For example, a team from the North Shore Animal League America in Long Island, New York, jumped into their animal rescue bus. They drove all the way to Alabama and returned home with nearly 80 dogs and cats. The animals were given medical care and were soon adopted by families in New York. These 3 puppies were among the animals rescued by the North Shore Animal League America. The North Shore Animal League America rescuers call this bus their Mobile Rescue Unit. Birds in danger. Pets were not the only animals in need of rescue after the super outbreak. When people walked through the parks, backyards, and woods near Birmingham, they realized wild birds were also in danger. The storm had blown down many trees, tossing baby birds and their parents out of the branches and down to the ground. Hundreds of birds had broken wings or damaged feathers. A rescuer feeds this baby robin a healthy mix of cat food, yogurt, and vitamins. Without quick help, the birds would have starved to death or been eaten by predators such as foxes, snakes, and raccoons. To save the wounded birds, volunteers from the Alabama Wildlife Center put them in cardboard boxes and took them to their facility. There, the birds were fed by hand and kept safe while they healed. When the birds were strong enough, they were released back into the wild. Tornadoes are very dangerous to baby birds. Most types of birds cannot fly until they are a few weeks old. As a result, baby birds are not able to move to safety if they see tornadoes coming. A rescue worker from the Alabama Wildlife Center checks this rescued baby owl for injuries. Another killer storm. Less than a month after the super outbreak of 2011, a massive tornado hit the city of Joplin, Missouri on May 22nd. The storm flattened entire neighborhoods, killing more than 100 people. Animal rescuers, like Debbie Hill of the Humane Society of Missouri, knew that hundreds of animals were out there in need of help. "It's very important to get in as quick as you can," she said. The twister that struck Joplin was a single tornado, not part of an outbreak of tornadoes. It was the deadliest single tornado to strike the United States since 1953. Storm winds in Joplin reached up to 200 miles per hour, 322 kilometers per hour. Neighborhoods like this one were totally destroyed. Rescue workers took animals to shelters in Joplin where they were checked by veterinarians. Debbie and other rescuers spent days driving through the deserted streets, searching for animal survivors. "We are often the last hope for animals that are left behind," said Debbie, "and that's why we won't leave until the job is done." This woman holds a ferret she rescued after the tornado in Joplin destroyed the animal's house. Dogs saving dogs. Rescuers, like Debbie Hill, knew that animals had survived the tornado, but they weren't always easy to find. That's why rescue teams in Joplin used search and rescue dogs. These dogs are specially trained to use their strong senses of smell and hearing to find survivors after disasters. This rescue dog and worker searched for survivors in what was left of an apartment building in Joplin, Missouri. 5 days after the storm, a search and rescue dog named Javier jumped onto a pile of rubble that had once been a home. He sniffed around for a while, then suddenly stopped, turned to human rescuers, and barked. The people climbed onto the pile and listened. A faint moaning could be heard from under the wood and broken glass. The team tried to get closer to the sound by carefully pulling debris off the pile. Soon, a dog squirmed out, frightened and very hungry, but not badly hurt. After the Joplin tornado, the ASPCA and the Joplin Humane Society decided to hold an Adopt-a-thon, a 2-day event for the animals left homeless by the storm. More than 5,000 people from 24 states came to the event. Around 745 pets found new homes. This puppy found a new family to go home with at the ASPCA's Adopt-a-thon in Joplin. He also got a new name, Joplin. Saving Cajun. Tornadoes continued to pound the country through the spring of 2011, with another big storm hitting western and central Massachusetts on June 1st. Joanne Cass and Stephen Bush worried a twister would hit their barn and kill the horses inside. To save them, Joanne and Stephen threw the barn doors open, letting the 4 horses out. Then Joanne and Steve dove into the cellar beneath their house, where they hoped they would be safe. Joanne Cass and Stephen Bush with their horse, Cajun. After the tornado passed, Joanne and Stephen came out of the cellar. They saw that their barn had been turned into a heap of cracked lumber. Had their horses been harmed as well? Joanne and Stephen quickly searched the nearby woods. They soon found one of their horses, Cajun, but he was bleeding badly. The wind had driven a sharp stick into his right back leg. Stephen and Joanne drove the wounded horse to an animal hospital. During a 2-hour operation, veterinarians were able to clean his wound and repair his leg. Cajun was soon able to begin walking again. Several vets volunteered to work on Cajun without pay. One of the vets who treated Cajun holds a cup filled with wooden splinters that were taken out of the horse's leg. Toto's new family. A few days after the tornadoes hit Massachusetts, a worker who was cleaning up some fallen trees saw something incredible. Clinging to a branch was a tiny 3-week-old kitten. A firefighter brought the kitten to the Animal Rescue League of Boston, where workers there named the kitten Toto. Toto was named after the dog in the famous novel The Wonderful Wizard of Oz, written in 1900 by L. Frank Baum. In this book, Toto is carried away by a tornado. A scene from the 1939 movie The Wizard of Oz shows Toto and his owner, Dorothy. Kittens that are as young as Toto are still nursing. Without their mother's milk, they will starve to death. As a result, workers at the Animal Rescue League of Boston fed Toto milk from a baby bottle. But then they had a better idea. They placed Toto in a cage with a mother cat that had just given birth to kittens. In no time at all, Toto was nursing alongside his new brothers and sisters. One of the tornado's smallest victims was safe at last with his new family. Toto was cared for by rescue workers from the Animal Rescue League of Boston. Famous tornadoes and rescues. The super outbreak of 2011 was one of the deadliest tornado outbreaks in United States history. It was just one of many outbreaks, however, that have put animals in danger. Oklahoma-Kansas outbreak, May 3rd, 1999. A total of 74 tornadoes hit Oklahoma and Kansas in one day, killing 46 people and damaging thousands of buildings. Many horses were injured in the storm. Veterinarian Michael J. Wiley treated the horses for little or no pay, while volunteers helped by feeding the horses and cleaning their stalls. Rescuers with the Oklahoma City Animal Shelter took in lost pets and gave them medical care. Guthrie, Oklahoma, May 24, 2011. Several tornadoes hit the city of Guthrie, Oklahoma. One of the buildings hit by the storm was the Guthrie Animal Shelter. More than 60 cats and dogs were in the building when the storm hit. Amazingly, they all survived, even though the building was destroyed. Rescuers from Animal Rescue Corps rushed to Guthrie to help. They picked up the cats and dogs and drove them to animal shelters that had not been damaged by the tornadoes. An Animal Rescue Corps worker saved this puppy after tornadoes struck Guthrie, Oklahoma. Animals at risk from tornadoes. Animal rescuers work quickly to save dogs, cats, and other family pets from tornadoes. However, these powerful storms can also put farm animals and wildlife in danger and in need of rescue. Farm animals. Farm animals such as horses, cows, and chickens can be injured when tornadoes cause barns or other farm buildings to fall down. Animals can also be hit by flying debris, such as tree branches. If farmers are killed or forced to evacuate their farms, animals living there may be left without food and water. After the super outbreak of 2011, rescuers drove from farm to farm, bringing food and fresh water to animals in need. Veterinarians traveled to farms to treat injured animals. Wildlife. Tornadoes can kill or injure wild animals. The storms can also destroy the habitats on which these animals depend. In May 2011, a tornado hit Minneapolis, Minnesota. The storm knocked down hundreds of trees in a park, destroying the great blue heron nests that were there. Many baby birds were in danger of starving. Rescuers gathered the young herons and took them to a wildlife center, where they were fed and checked by vets. 2 months later, when the birds were strong enough to live on their own, they were released back into the wild. This injured baby deer was found after a tornado hit Minneapolis. This great blue heron was released into the wild in Minnesota.